Hello and welcome back to my channel. We start this session with the characters involved in a quite a complicated combat with these a band of kobolds led by their leader Grishnak, the kobold supremo of this band, wielding his mighty hand axe. We are on round 2, and unfortunately the characters have lost initiative. So let's just get kicked off immediately, and let's see if we can crack through this combat and see whether we can get a resolution, either yay or nay for the characters. And again, I will apologize for my condition. Let's see how far I get with this process. Okay, right, let's start logically. Let's start with number 10, the spear. He's going to try to jab Tristan. After all modifiers, I remember last time it was a 15 or greater that he needed. So let's see whether he has a successful jab with his spear. So 15 or greater to hit Tristan. 3, he misses. Now Grishnak, not Grishnak. I think Grishnak is something out of Lord of the Rings. It could be. Grishnash is how Kobold would pronounce that name. Grishnash with his axe, his hand axe. I believe there was a 0 modifier. I'm doing this from memory. Again, he needs a 15 to hit Tristan with his axe, his hand axe. He screams and wields the axe and misses. Okay, good start for the chaps. We also have number 4, who is armed with, what is number 4 armed with? An axe, another axe. And he is trying to hit Lindris, and he had a negative modifier, and that meant it was now I've been doing a quick bit of reading in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it does say that I think if you get if it is the situation with Lindris was that the chap had a hand axe, and it was against armor class 5, which was chainmail. So he had hand axe, armor class 5. It was -1, and I think he needed. Was it a 20 or more he needed against armor class 2? Yeah. Oh no, that would have made him a 20. I think I'm talking about the javelins. So for this character, number 4, yeah, for the javelins it was a -2, and that would have made a 21. Now it looks as though if you need more than 20, you can't hit, so you almost become invulnerable. So you need some form of magical assistance or some other modifier. Maybe they're throwing from behind or on top, or you're prone, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, Lindris must be, he's waving around too much, he's too difficult a target. So it would just be a miss automatically. So we shouldn't really have had a roll against it, but it was a miss anyhow. This character here, number 4, the kobold, he needs a 20 to hit, so he gets a 10, he misses. And then number 9 moves forward from this rank, and number 11 moves into here just to fill up. And you can imagine the kobolds are sort of milling around a bit. It's not really kind of like this organized phalanx, but they are generally in 2 lines with two javelin men at the back. Number 9 is a new player in the mix, and he has got, let's see if he brings anything interesting. He has a short sword. So what does a short sword do? To armor class 5, a short sword is this one. Let's see if it makes him invulnerable. -1, so he needs a 20 to hit Lindris, so he gets a 14. So all the footmen with hand weapons miss the 2-player characters. It's down to the Javelin men now. Now, there's a slight change to the dynamic. Oh, before we even go further, Kobold number 11. I noticed this when I was looking through my thing. Kobold number 11 was never generated, and we've got 11 kobolds. So this wee guy here, he doesn't exist on my chart just now. I don't know why I didn't generate him while I was going through. I suppose this is the classic brain fog. And I came down to 10, and I was saying, well, come on, what about 11? And it just still wasn't there. And I suppose originally I was wondering, why don't I have this other little combo in the weapons? So we'll just generate his hit points now. He's a 3, so he's quite tough. So we shouldn't discount him. And also in the monster manual for kobolds, the one breakdown that we didn't do was, I think it was a combo, wasn't it? It was IJK. Yeah, it was actually a short sword and javelin combo and it was a 5%. So that would have been rounded up to 1. So he's got a short sword and a javelin. Okay. So I'll do short sword and javelin. So we've got quite a merry bunch of weapons for the kobolds, which is creating lots of weapon factor adjustments as a result. But this is all part of the fun, I think, of the combat system. I played much more complicated combat systems, chivalry and sorcery and whatever. But there's something quite special about Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It's got a level of abstraction but enough depth to. It's very dramatic, and you can imagine. You've got to use your imagination quite a bit, so you can imagine the characters jumping around. I can come up with ideas like this tactic, and it's very much a theatre of the mind as well as the hard mechanics. And I think hopefully that's what is being captured in this. I know it is difficult. I suppose taking it from the audience point of view, it's quite easy for me because I'm kind of caught up in this, and I've got it in front of me, and almost like these avatars and these counters are coming to life a bit. It might seem a bit strange. What is wrong with you, Brian? But this is all good fun for me, and it's like a cross between a board game, a miniatures game, a role-playing game, all combined into one. But I suppose taking it from the audience point of view, like your subscribers, this looks maybe a bit on the dull side. So hopefully, what I try to convey is maybe just try and think with your imagination, and maybe listen to try to interject things with descriptions and talk about what the motivations of the monsters are, even down to things like what they're wearing, what they look like, and bring out some personalities, all that type of stuff. And I think when you're playing your own games, just try and do that as well. If you're talking to yourself, I find it quite easy to do the talking. I was trying to explain this to my friend the other day, that actually having the YouTube audience as almost like someone to bounce off ideas, I can feel that I'm chatting away to like a friend, or in this case I've got 520 friends out there. I'm really quite blessed. It's like one of these people on Facebook, they've got hundreds of thousands of friends, and I can feel I can just chat away, and it's almost like I've got someone to talk to, and I don't feel like I'm a bit of an I've got to be taken away in an ambulance or anything for further medical procedures. It's all very natural. So getting back to the actual story, I've completely lost my thread. I think I was talking about these javelin guys, wasn't I? And the fact that we will have a slightly different dynamic because 10, 5 and 4 are in, but we also have number 9. So he's got a 1 share. And Dagobert is you might be asking, why is Dagobert not involved in this? He's waiting for his turn, and he does want to hang back, and the 2 other fighters are quite anxious to keep Dagobert safe. One hit and he could be unconscious and bleeding out. We don't want that situation. we want to keep Dagobert whole and not have him as a walking wounded character. So he's holding back just now. He's out with the javelin. The javelins won't get, maybe he can see the javelins coming and he can just move from side to side. They're being kind of aimed at the first line. So he's maybe not. I think in wargaming, sometimes you feel it was like a cannon being shot at this line. You could maybe say, well, there's a kind of throughput. The shot is ricocheting through. But these javelins, maybe they're just like flying over and hitting the walls and that type of stuff. It's all. That's the thing. It's kind of abstract. So I think I'm better just actually resolving this particular thing. So let's do a javelin. It might even hit Grishnash in the back of the head. Who knows? So javelin number 7. He steps up. He's got 2 javelins left. He says he blows on the end of it and say, right, you were lucky last time. You hit your target. Are you going to hit it this time? So we roll our d8. He rolls against Lindris. That's just going to bounce off. It's going to bang, because it's a modified roll. It's a -2 and it should be a 19 to hit, so it'll be a 21. So it actually bounces off. Maybe Lindris managed to wield Darkslayer up, and he does that really fancy thing with his sword, and it kind of boom, goes off and clatters into the side of the corridor. So that's another javelin down. So our ammunition, javelin, that's down to 1, and then javelin number 6. He's going to throw fire. So he rolls a 4, and Lindra says keep it coming, and it hits. This time it maybe bounces off Lindra's shield. He's got such a dexterity. He's able to move and parry and do all that kind of fancy thing with his footwork. And he said, I can be here all day doing this type of stuff. So that's 2 javelins down that have been spent. So that was quite exciting. Now, so the characters have survived that unscathed. They've been attacked by 4 different weapons in the front line and two missile weapons. It's their turn to do the business. Now, looking back at this 2-hit requirement, let's do Tristan first. He has an 11, and he's either going to hit Grishnash or the spear guy. So let's just do it randomly. 1 to 3, it's spear guy. No, he's going for Grishnash again. He needs an 11 to hit Grishnash. He gets a 14. Now Tristan has a longsword. His longsword is damage that it does against a small opponent is 1 to 8. So he rolls 1 to 8 for damage. He rolls a 3. He has a damage modifier of +3. So it's 6 points of damage. So Grishnash, the Defiler, Grishnash, the Orc Slayer, Grishnash, the terror of the underworld, is slain by a mighty blow from Tristan. And what repercussions is that going to have for his band? Ooh, we don't know. So 2 down, and I would say that there's a 25% casualty triggering of morale. So we're not quite there yet. We need to get 3 to get past that particular. We're almost there, but we need 1 more. So Lindris, with his powerful Darkslayer is starting to get into action. It's maybe not doing all the moan stuff like Stormbringer, but there's the feeling that it's anticipation. It's enjoying this. It's wielding out lots of chaotic neutral vengeance on lawful evil filth. The despicable, horrible, lawful evil monsters. It doesn't like them at all. Lindris is maybe going, I don't really, maybe calm down a bit, Darkslayer. That's maybe a bit strong. And so his chaotic good is coming out. He's not completely happy, but he's kind of, maybe he's smiling at Dagobert, saying, "Oh, come on, look, look what this does. It can deflect javelins. It can, and it maybe it can do the business here." So Lindris needs, after all that, he needs an 11 to hit one of these two. So is it going to be number 9, or is it going to be number 4? So it is number 9. So it's like every guy that steps forward, he tries to go for him. So Lindris needs an 11. He gets a 16. So we know that a broadsword does 2d4 damage. So he does 4 plus 3, 7, and it's a +2 weapon. That's that's 9 points of damage. Number 9 is he's one of the tough guys. He's got a short sword, but there's no way he can absorb 9 points of damage, and he's gone. And who else went? Oh, Grishnash. Yeah, Grishnash is gone. Poor old Grishnash. R.I.P. So another monster character disappears. Okay. Right, so that's the end of that round. And for the start of the next round, I think what that does is it triggers a morale test. So let's have a look and see how the morale rules work in this context. I'm getting quite a large pile of books over here. I just want to have a quick reorganization of my charts. Put them into form. I've got the player's handbook, I've got the monster manual, I've got everything. I've got my notes. I don't need my notes anymore. This is completely unscripted, this one. Let's see what the morale is. So we go to our morale check table, which is in the combat section. Morale is example of melee. Morale, here we go. Now, it's worthy just to have a quick check of just what this is all about. Morale. Morale checks are used to determine the amount of will to fight in non-leader NPCs, and it can be applied both to henchmen and hirelings of character types and groups of intelligent opponent monsters. So that's what we are. These kobolds are intelligent opponent monsters. The base unmodified morale score is 50. So we start with 50. Now there's no modifiers for us because I've already checked. Monsters intelligent, each monster has a base morale of 50, plus 5% per hit die above 1, so we're not, and plus 1% hit point above any hit dice. So it's base 50%. Now we do have some modifiers that we do. Each enemy deserting, no. Each enemy slain, no. Inflicting casualties without receiving any, no. Each friend killed. Right, so we've had 3 friends killed, so that's plus 30. Taking casualties without receiving any. No, that hasn't happened. Taking casualties without receiving any. Well, that hasn't. We're both sides have taken casualties. Each friend deserting, that's not happened. Outnumbered and outclassed by 3 or more to 1. No. So I would say the pertinent modifiers is plus 30. So what we do is we roll a percentage and we take the difference between the base morale, 50%, and what we roll on this percentage dice. So let's do that and add 30 to it. So the kobolds with their morale roll is 60 plus 30 is 90. 90 minus 50 is 40. So 30, that is in the area, it's a morale failure, it classifies. And what it means is flee in panic. Wow. The kobolds are going to flee in panic. Okay, let's see who gets initiative for the next turn. So that's what's happened here at the end of round 2 is that our characters have swiftly, they've deflected these blows. Tristan and Lindris particularly has managed to dodge or either dodge or deflect the javelins being hurled at him. The kobolds have seen their leader fall. They've seen another one of their front line fall. They are feeling a bit and what's happened is that basically their morale has collapsed, and they will flee at the next opportunity. However, we're into round 3. We're up to round 2, so we go into round 3. What we need to do is roll for initiative. So do the kobolds manage to get away without being struck? Now, they'll probably be struck from behind by the characters. So we'll use the dice and see who comes up first. The characters get the initiative. Wow. So, en masse, the kobolds, I'm going to try turn the numbers upside down. This might sound a bit strange doing that, but this is a represent. Oh, I should have just kept the 11 and keep 1 the same. 4 and 10, they turn round, and they're about to flee, and then these two characters step forward and use their weapons. And then when we have a special modifier now, and I think in the Dungeon Master's Guide, if we look at special modifiers under combat, special modifiers, rear attacks, opponents attacking from the rear gain +2 to hit, negate any consideration for shield, and also negate any consideration. So we'll get a +2. So instead of an 11, Tristan can hit number 10 with the spear, who he wants vengeance on. This is the one that stabbed him. He can hit him on a 9. So let's see whether Tristan gets him. And he misses. So even with the help, the spear kobold has managed to jump out the way and is darting off down the corridor. Tristan, he needs 11 +2. He needs a 9. With the Dark Slayer is hungry for more kobold blood to be spilled. He misses as well. Even the Dark Slayer. So maybe the kobolds have just been too fast. They scuttle on down the corridor. Their maximum move is 6. So if we wanted to pursue, we could probably catch them. However, I would say, let's look at it from the player's point of view. If in fact, we'll get our map back and see what the geography is. So the combat's been going on, if you can just imagine, it's been going on here. So we'll just go this way, and this is our big blown up version. The combat's happened here. The kobolds are scuttling away down here into the gloom. We don't really know what's down there. So I think it would be, and Daggerbert says, I think it would probably be reckless for us to continue down here. We don't know what's down here. We don't know what's down here. Let's be cautious. I think the odds are against us in this dungeon just now. I have a bad feeling that there has been too many untoward incidents. We already have some information that we have managed to gain from our adventures with the dwarfs. This could be vital information that we can take back to Lord Seaward and his retinue and associates. Who knows if this is a revelation or is it common knowledge? We'll only find out if we can take this information back, and to do that we need to survive today. Otherwise this secret will be lost with us in the palace, and will become entombed as skeletons. They're going, okay, slow down a bit, Dagobah. You're laying on. I think we've got the message that we're probably going to say, enough for today. Let's lick our wounds and maybe return to Marchton. Also, we do have the vial that we've taken from this magic pool. We can get that analysed. We have 1,000 silver pieces in our sacks that Tristan has. It's maybe weighing him down a bit. What we've probably done with the silver pieces is I think we would probably just we've dumped them in this room just now, because there's no way Tristan wants to lug around 1,000 silver pieces, which aren't really worth very much. He was even tempted to throw them in that pool and just see what would happen. Maybe the place would blow up. He just does. He did, but then he thought, no, we're not going to tamper with the water at all. I don't think that's maybe a good idea. So I think that what they do is to just let the kobolds run off. Now again, let's reflect on the kobolds. Now in that little setup that we had, and obviously I'll do what I usually do. I'll take a note. We've got three kobold casualties. We've had well, we could actually, what we can do is maybe look through the bodies. Yeah, let's do that first. And do what the rather callous mercenary thing that adventurers do when they have some victims is, first of all, we will work out how long that took. So that was 3 rounds of combat, so we're up to 6. We have to rest for a period, so we do that. So we're up to 1. So we're cracking through the 12:30. We're up to 12:50 now. We rest and regain our strength after that quite strenuous bit of combat. We start going through the bodies. We've got Grishnash, his body. Let's see what the treasure is that these creatures have on an individual basis. So if we go to Kobold, they might have next to nothing, but it's always worthwhile. You never know, they might have some gems or something. Individuals, J-O and Q in there, so J and O. Alright, okay. I thought it might just be 1. So let's go to the treasure table at the back of the monster manual, and we'll see what J is. So J is 3 to 24 pieces per individual, copper. That's not great. And then O is, I think that must be to do with the layer. So basically these creatures have got nothing. 3 to 24 pieces of copper pieces. Well, probably not even, that's just too small for us to even consider. I know you should really try to account for every bit of money in this game world, but yeah, I almost feels that's a bit of an insult. And that's the trouble with Wandering Monsters. They're not really going to carry anything major on them, because you haven't uncovered their lair. That's not where they've stored away all their stuff. Why would they carry around lots of valuables? There are some player characters. I think the ranger is not allowed to have accumulated wealth, and quite a way to do that is to have maybe have gold necklaces and rings and things. And that was a funny thing. I remember in the Joy of Wargaming's, one of his characters, I think he called him, it was a play on Aragon. What was it? Aragoon. And he was doing almost solo adventuring by himself, this Aragoon character, and I think he discovered a place called Weasel Castle, which was very amusing because it was occupied by giant weasels. And Aragoon, one of the things about rangers, apart from the fact that they're a great character class to play, and they're quite entertaining, was that they can't hold on to wealth. So a neat solution to that is to buy, I suppose, transportable wealth. Rings and convert your gold into that type of thing. Like big chunky necklaces. So you can imagine all these rangers in this world going around with all this bling on. Really kind of hey my man type rangers. I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of vibe in my game world. It's going to be a bit more rooted in a serious 12th stroke 13th century feudal Anglo-Scottish kind of background, but maybe there's a bit of scope for a bit of humour there. Okay, so the bottom line is that the Wandering Monsters haven't given us anything. The point I wanted to make about the kobolds were that if you ask the question, we rolled up their motivation, and they were setting up an ambush. So the characters could say, well, why were these kobolds setting up an ambush? And are there more kobolds here? And it starts leading on. So not only have they got the information about the dwarves, they've got the vial of the sample that they've taken from the magic pool. They've got some kobolds that they've come across. And again, it might not be that important, but they could always relay that back to Marchton and say, are you aware of any kobold layers around here? Potentially we've got an issue with this is, when you think of it, this is the first humanoid race we've come across that has potential for having a lair. And the way I phrased it, he was setting up an ambush, and he'd been sent by his almost like tribal chief to do this for a purpose. There is a good chance that there is a lair, probably not in our home hex, because that's a bit of a no-no, but there's a very good chance that if we look at the surrounding area, if we look at the surrounding area, maybe they have layers in, even potentially in this rough hex, and they've come into our home hex from here, and they have their lair in there. That would be quite a compelling story for kobolds to be residing in a rough hex, and probably just being at the outer line of defences, because they're not very powerful monsters. But as a group, I think 400 can be their tribe. You imagine 400 kobolds rushing at you. And we had 11, and that was quite intimidating. And I think that was one of the points I was trying to get across as well in this encounter, was you've got to take every monster seriously, and some of them can give you a real surprise. And if you are creative, and hopefully this little simple mechanic of having the 4 options, it draws out a wee bit of nuance about what the monster's motivations are, so that you can inject without going to town and almost like feeling it's a laboured type thing, and you're looking at this table here and this table there, and you can almost like provide a bit of direction. And again, these are type of tropes that I like, so I'm putting my kind of spin on it. I'm not putting in something that's been randomly generated in a table and just having to hope and pray that I can understand it. I quite like these different options. Now, I might not like the results, like setting up an ambush, and I had to deal with that, but that was an interesting thing for me to deal with. What would a war party, a raiding party been like? That could have been quite exciting. They would have been primed for combat. They're probably, their blood's up. They would have probably gone straight for us without any questions. These guys came running up to us and went, whoa, trying to scare us away, and they didn't actually come to blows. Now, I don't know whether with that surprise segment and the charge that they had enough movement to maybe make contact, but certainly I wanted them to come up and kind of try to give our characters a bit of a shock, and that didn't work. But with the war party, a raiding party, they would have been straight in there and chopping us to bits if they could. And also they might have some interesting prisoners as part of their hoard. That they are, it's transportable because they're going from A to B. It'd be interesting to find out what A and B is. Where do they come from? And then this advanced party looking to conquer. Again, that's a quite interesting motivation. And then this, even if we had had the first one, there's some colonists here. Now, I wasn't envisaging a massive tribe of kobolds in Dunmorna, but maybe there's like an offshoot, a small group of say 40 to 80 with in total population. You could envisage maybe that just a small colony is there, and that maybe they are part of a larger polity of another tribe that's in the Badlands. Okay, right. Let's get back to the adventure. I think the characters have decided that they've done enough for today, and what they're going to do is going to retrace their steps and get back out of this situation, and they're not going to do anything with this shoot at all. In fact, that's if you think about it, that's another major bit of information they've got is level 2. Ooh, and the dwarves have already said it is a bit scary down there. You maybe want to bring an extra suit of armor when you're down there. They've kind of hinted very strongly that there's extensive dangers that are lurking. So that's a tantalizing thing for us to take away. So I think overall we've gained more than we've lost in this experience. Okay, right. Let's see what our escape strategy is, and then we'll probably just wrap that up for today. I feel like my voice is starting to come back a bit. I don't know whether it's sometimes in the afternoon you start to feel a bit better. It's kind of just like a lull, or is it something that is a bit more long lasting? Yeah. Here we go. So we'll head back into the pool room, the magic pool room. We'll keep well away from it. We don't want to slide down on the slippery sides. We'll head back up this passage. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So roughly about, I would say, maybe, let's go for almost three rounds there to do that. We'll probably err on the side of caution on the chimney. So if I do 3, that gives us up to 9. And to get back down the chimney, what we'll do is Tristan will lower the rope. We'll climb down the rope down to level 1, and then what he does is he tries to climb afterwards with the rope round him. As we go down, we I think from memory we had some stakes there, so we tie it so make sure that Tristan doesn't have another fall and bang his head again. And he's got a bit of damage already, so he doesn't want any more. So let's say have an 85% chance. He gets, oh, I've rolled a d20. That's really silly. Okay, 78. Ooh, so he had a bit of a slip when he's going down. Maybe when he's trying to undo the rope. They managed to get down to the bottom. That takes maybe another round to do. So I would say we've lost that, and we're up to 3 there. We will try to escape from our sinkhole and get back onto the surface. And if you think about it, we'll be back onto the surface in daylight. We might have to do a weather check because we've got some potential weather when we get out. Remember, it's potential weather, strong winds and rain. And we're back up to noon. So we've probably got another weather check to do when we get onto the surface. But first of all, we'll head back down this corridor. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I would say that's another 2 rounds to get there. And then we head up these stairs. We go up carefully up the circular staircase in the tower. Tristan climbs up. He's got the rope, and he does that thing where he kind of makes sure that he has it attached at 15 feet. So we'll roll once to make sure that he can get up. He gets a 54. He manages to do that. The rest of the characters clamber up onto the surface. Let's say that that's another 3 turns. So we're up to 5. So we leave the dungeon. That's 30 minutes and half. So 35 minutes. So it's 1:05. Let's say it's 1 o'clock, just to round it and make it simple. That we leave Dunmorna, the palace. We are on the surface. It is just afternoon, so I will roll a 1 in 6, and that means we get our potential weather. It starts, so it doesn't. It's still looking quite, maybe there's quite a gusty wind, and it looks as though there could be rain. The clouds are very ragged and dark. It's looking, they look as though they're full of rain, but it's holding off for just now. We decide, let's head back down the crevasse. We head back down the crevasse to the end of the lava flow. We get our encounter tables out, because guess what? We are walking around outside in midday. I was going to say the midday sun. It's not quite the sun. It's the midday. Where's my dryad? I think it's my dryad I'm looking for. Yeah. So we are in the hills and noon, and we get an encounter check. So moderate to sparse patrolled. So it's a 1 in 12 chance that we get an encounter. What would be the chances? Well, it's 1 in 12. So we get our D12 of Bane out. We roll it. We get a 12. There is no encounter. So we look at our map. It's 1 o'clock. We come out of the hellhole that is the lava plain of Dunmorna. The cloud is looking angry. The sky is looking angry with dark clouds. We walk through these gentle hills up to the military road. We strike the military road with a confident jump in our step, and then back down to Marchton. So that will take us, we're 1 o'clock, it's 30 minutes to get to the end. Get to the end of the lava flow, and in another 2 hours. So that's 1:30. That's going to be 3:30. 3:30 we arrive back in Marchton, and let's see if the weather's broken again, because we will have. Do we have an afternoon check? We have an evening check, so it's not until we get to evening that we have another weather check. So it's still holding off. The road's dry. It's probably still got puddles from the other day. It's maybe a bit damp underfoot. We reach the guard. He goes, hail party, the party of Dunmorna. You're back early. We say yes, gatekeeper. Can you let us in? We thirst for a flagon of Hawksmoor beer that we can enjoy back in the Green Dragon. We're going to have the afternoon off. We feel that we feel very tired for what we've been doing. In fact, why am I wasting my time talking talking to you. Anyway, he doesn't really say that. He says that maybe under his breath. The gatekeeper lets him in. We walk across. We walk across the market square. Let's just get our little map of Marchton. Get us back in the mood of the place. We come through the gate. The gatekeeper is being very pleasant to us. He knows us. He knows gatekeeper A or gatekeeper B. We walk back through the market square, and there's quite a lot of people moving around. There's quite a few traders haggling and bustle and whatever. The only thing is a bit of trepidation with the weather, and everybody's talking about it in a kind of very British sort of way. We head into the Green Dragon. Fredegar's there. He says, you're back. I was probably expecting you a bit later. Does that mean that things have gone maybe not according to plan? And I said, no, not really. That's not the case, Fredegar. We have. It's more a case that we have been enlightened by some of the things that we have discovered in Dunmorna. And that's maybe all I need to say on it at the moment. And Fredegar says, I fully understand. I get many adventurers crossing the threshold. I am. This is part of my training, and another one of my services that we provide is client confidentiality. I will not pry where I am not needed, and I can assure you that I will keep discreet any information that is brought into this inn. And they go, this is wonderful. This is a wonderful service, Fredegar. If we ever go up to another place, say Wayford or the cities beyond and the towns, I am sure we will tell. We will trumpet your name loudly and say that this is a beacon in the Northern Marches, and a place worthy of adventurers to reside. And the other thing is that we can enjoy in the inn mechanic again tonight. So once the characters maybe just have a wash up, they have their baths and they do the thing. It's quite a nice afternoon for them to just enjoy. And I think that's maybe quite a nice juncture for us to maybe just finish up. I can, at the start of next session, I can maybe just summarize where we've got to, and then we have the prospect of our information that we've got. We've got the dwarves that we've discovered, Thusnell and his little band. We've had our Kobold debacle, which came out in our favour. There are some loose ends there, because there's a group of screaming kobolds racing around in Dunmorna just now, probably in mortal fear of that Dark Slayer chaotic neutral blade that did so much damage to their retinue, and also they mourn the loss of their great leader Grishnash, the dark kobold, and him being maybe him being such an important lieutenant of the tribal leader. They might remember the people that slayed the great Grishnash and want revenge. So there could be some enmity brewing between kobold kind and mankind that might need a squaring at a future date. Okay, I think we've probably done enough for the time being. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.